everybody. Welcome to an introduction to Berkeley Law for the 2024 to 2025 school year. I'm happy to have you all here. My name is Alice Young. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Director of Admissions for Outreach and Recruitment here at Berkeley Law. I'd like to start this presentation by recognizing that Berkeley sits on the territory of the Huchun, the ancestral and unceded land of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, the successors of the historic and sovereign Verona Band of Alameda County. This land was and continues to be of great importance to the Mwakama Ohlone tribe and other familiar descendants of the Verona Band. This presentation is an overview of Berkeley Law. Everything that we offer here from classes, experiential education opportunities, and the Bay Area in general. If you're looking to get more information about our specific admissions process and components of the application timeline, I would head over to our other presentation, which is titled the Applicant Information Session. We also have a lot of information on our website as well that will guide you through the admissions process. So for this presentation, I'm going to be focusing specifically on what it's like to be a law student here at the school. A question that we get a lot is what makes Berkeley Law different? I think there are many things that make it a really special place. One of them is particularly the 1L experience for our students. We offer a lot of things for first-year students to get involved in. We tend to attract students who are looking to get involved right away, and particularly in public service opportunities. And so there's a great amount of opportunities available to first-year students. So I'm going to start by talking about what to expect for your 1L year here. You are going to be placed in doctrinal law classes for your first year. So we place our students in modules. We recently redid the module system for this year. So we have 12 modules to get total, and each module has about 30 students in it. So there are 4 core classes here that are listed: torts, contract, civil procedure, and criminal law. You're going to be taking 3 of those your fall semester and 1 your spring semester. You're also going to be taking legal research and writing in your fall semester and written and oral advocacy in your spring semester. So one of these classes is going to be with your small mod of about 30 students. The other 2 classes would be in a super mod, which is 3 mods placed together, so about 90 students total. And the LRW or the WOA classes are going to be small classes of less than 20 students. In your spring semester of your first year, that's the first opportunity you're going to get to start taking elective classes. So you get the opportunity to take 2 elective courses. Most students choose to take a constitutional law class and another elective class. Excuse me. After your first year of law school, you can really choose whatever it is you would like to study. As a student here described it to me just now, it is sort of a choose your own adventure. So there are no tracks or majors that you might be used to in undergrad. It's really up for you to design your own curriculum. So if you do want to focus on a particular area of law, you're absolutely welcome to do so. If you're really not sure yet, or you have a few different areas of interest, you can take a bunch of different types of classes. So you are not going to be prescribed a particular curriculum here. You do not have to take property while you're a student here. Many students do choose to do so. A requirement that just began last year is that every student is required to take 2 units in classes related to racial justice or systemic inequality. Other than that, a major thing to note about our the way that our classes run here is we do not have a traditional grading system. So we do not have A through F grades. We do not rank our students or give a GPA for students either. So when you're taking a class, you'll either be given a high honors, or pass. It is possible to get a non-passing grade as well. The top 10% of the class would get high honors. The remaining 30% would get honors. And the 60% of the class would get a pass. And so that really builds community amongst our students. I feel like it's a very collegial community, and you're not feeling like you have to compete against your peers to be in a certain percentage of the class. I feel like it also encourages students to take classes that they maybe hadn't considered before or that they're not very familiar with, without it being a very competitive environment. There's also a lot of academic support and advising and mentorship programs available to students as well. Our career development office has advisors for both the private sector, if you're thinking about more sort of big law jobs. They do interview skill workshops, they do resume reviews, they do a lot of prep to get you on the right track for on-campus interviews for big law jobs. They also have advisors for the public interest sector as well. If you're thinking about public service or government jobs, they host a fair here at the school every year for public service, public sector government employers who are both employing students for the summer and also in long-term post law school career opportunities as well. We also have a director of judicial clerkships as well, if you're thinking about clerking, and she puts on programs throughout the year about what is a clerkship and brings judges to the law school. For academic advising, we have the Office of the Dean, the Student Services, Academic Advising and Support Services Office. They can provide one-on-one counseling about the law school experience, what kind of classes to take. And then we have an academic skills program as well that runs throughout the year to basically make sure you're successful in your classes and help provide support. They also run the pre-orientation programs that happens the week before orientation. It's a application-based program for students who are underrepresented at the law school, who are first gen or who have been out of school for quite some time. Anybody who feels like they would benefit from having a little bit of extra support before starting law school, that always gets rave reviews. Another experience that is open to 1Ls is our journals. And so we have 13 law journals here that are student run and that you can join as a first year student. The only journal that you would have to wait till your second year to join is the California Law Journal. The California Law Review. They host a write-on competition this summer after your first year of law school. The rest of these, if you're interested in the journal and want to learn more, you can join the journal your very first year. And each of our journals sort of has its own process for selecting the editorial board for second and third year students. The other thing that I think makes Berkeley a special place is our commitment to experiential education and the pro bono opportunities available to students that help the local community. So one of the experiential opportunities that we have are advocacy competitions. So some of you might have been involved in a mock trial in undergrad. There are plenty of opportunities to continue doing that at the school. We host several internal competitions. Some of these are available to 1L students. For example, the Bales Trial Competition or the Halkey International Trial competition. There are several external competitions that our students participate in as well. And then the Board of Advocates is the umbrella organization for all of the advocacy teams. So we have moot court, mock trial, trial advocacy, the appellate team, and the ADR team. And all of those you can try out for, even as a first year student. Those are quite popular. I also mentioned the pro bono program. So what does that look like at Berkeley Law? I think one of the great things is that you can get involved in pro bono work your very first semester at law school. And there are several ways to do so. So let's talk about the SBCs of the pro bono program. We have SLIPs, SLPS, it's pronounced SLIPs. I know it's probably not what it appears, but those are student-initiated legal projects. Those have been here for many, many years. They are student-founded and student-led pro bono projects. They partner with outside organizations so that you get the chance to work on real-world issues and give back to mostly the local community here in the Bay Area. We also have BLAST trips, the Berkeley Law Alternative Service trips, that are basically away projects. These take place during spring break, so March for our students, although you do prep work the semester before to get ready for the trip. And those are trips across the country to help communities in need, and I'll talk about those in a minute. We also have CONNECT, which is the call for necessary engagement in community and timely response, which basically partners with communities in need for urgent assistance. So for example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we had students that were helping small businesses secure PPP loans. So things that are coming up that really need a timely response where students can help out. The great thing about the pro bono program here, it is not a requirement, but almost all of our students do participate in one way or another in one of our pro bono programs. Usually it's about 95% of our first year students that participate in one of the ways listed here. So let's talk a little bit about the blast trips. So these are the trips that the students are working on over spring break. Here's a picture. This was the Alaska trip that happened last year. So these are the trips that are going to be planned for this school year. We have Alaska, Atlanta, the California Central Valley, Hawaii, Kentucky. Montana was just added as a new trip. And we also have groups of students going to the US-Mexico border. So last year, what did our blast trips do? So we had a group of students that went to Alaska. They partnered with the Alaska Public Interest Research Group and worked alongside First Alaskans Institute to support Alaska tribes through indigenous sovereignty work. We had the Blast Lanta group of students who worked with two organizations that serve families affected by domestic violence and provided legal representation to unaccompanied immigrant children. Our Central Valley group focused on issues related to rural poverty by partnering with well-established organizations in the region. The Hawaii group used a multidisciplinary approach to community work. Students partnered with the Legal Aid Society of Hawaii and the Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation. The Kentucky group partnered with the Appalachian Citizens Law Center and the Appalachian Research and Defense Fund of Kentucky to represent coal miners and their families in Black lung claims and to help clients get and keep basic needs such as adequate food and housing. And the US-Mexico border group worked with the Florence Immigrant Refugee Rights Project, providing legal services to adults and children under threat of deportation. And as I mentioned, we have a new trip this year, which is the Blast Montana trip. They're going to be working with the Montana Legal Services Association, which has championed fairness in Montana's justice system by providing civil, non-criminal legal services to low-income Montanans across 56 counties and tribal reservations. So we are really excited to see what they accomplish for spring break 2025. The main thing that I want to take away about SLIPs and that I hear consistently from students is a great way to ground the reason why you're coming to law school. Working in the admissions office, I feel like we get a great perspective reading all of these incredible personal statements about why you want to come to law school, what kind of change you want to make, what kind of impact you want to make in the world. And sometimes when you come to law school, you're taking these doctrinal classes, it can kind of take the wind out of your sails a little bit, I think. And so SLIPs is a great way to kind of keep in touch with the reason, your reasoning for why law school. And so I think that's why it's a great way to not only do that pro bono work, give back to the community, but also stay true to yourself of your reasoning for why coming to law school. And for most people, that is to make, a positive impact on society. And so for the student-initiated legal service projects, we have, I believe, 40 SLIPs for this year. So these are all of them listed here. They have various requirements. Some of them have specific days of the week where you would be performing work. And so there's an orientation that all 1Ls are going to be going through shortly that kind of gives an introduction to each of these SLIPs and what are the hourly requirements per week or per month so that you can decide what kind of time you have in your schedule to dedicate. Most students do just join one SLIP at a time. So although a number of these might look interesting to you, we do encourage you to kind of figure out what you have time available to dedicate to the SLIP. The great thing about SLIPs is that they are completely student founded. And so each year there's usually 1 or 2 new SLIPs that are added. For last year, the Queer Justice Project was one of the SLIPs that was added. And so they worked under the supervision of licensed attorneys in leading transgender-led civil rights, LGBTQ crisis support, and LGBTQ plus legal aid organizations. They also created LGBTQ plus focused legal resources, expanded legal resources for incarcerated trans folks to help guide them in receiving necessary medical care and a safe space, and assisted legal teams to consolidate and transmit laws impacting the LGBTQ plus community and expand self-advocacy resources. So this is just an example of a new group that was founded. It's just amazing to see these groups that are founded every year, and it also shows us sort of what students are interested in that might not already be available at the law school. As a 1L, you can also join one of our many student organizations. We have over 75 here at the school. Some of them are identity-based groups, like some of our affinity organizations, La Alianza, the Law Students of African Descent, first generation professionals, and then some of them are interest-based groups as well. So those are a great opportunity, particularly for first year students, to meet with second and third years who were in their shoes, just very recently, and can help provide support for those students. And then a lot of them also have events throughout the year that are just fun ways to kind of blow off steam as well. And so these are a few of the ones that were added last year as student groups. We had the defendants, kind of a good play on words there, that provided a space for students to de-stress, create, and collaborate through movement and dance. The Plaintiff Law Association, they brought in speakers with prominent practitioners, connect students to mentors, and share employment opportunities with students that want to pursue plaintiff side careers. We also have the mass media at Berkeley Law Group. We actually have a lot of students who are coming from sort of journalism backgrounds, some former journalists, even some former like Pulitzer Prize winner journalists that are here. And so they created a group and actually brought in a lot of journalists and practitioners as well to talk to their students. So talking about experiential education, we also have many clinics that you can get involved in your second and your third year here at the law school. We have 5 in-house clinics. So those are led by faculty directors. They are working on national or international cases, generally litigation cases. Some of them have been going on for many years that you would be assisting with as a student clinician. So we have the environmental law clinic, the death penalty clinic, the human rights clinic, policy advocacy clinic, and the Samuelson Law Technology and Public Policy Clinic. Um, and we also have 8 in-community clinics. So these are through the East Bay Community Law Center. That is here in Berkeley on University Avenue. It's the largest provider of free and reduced cost legal services in Alameda County. And they have a number of clinics located there at EBCLC. They have the Health and Welfare Clinic, Housing Law, Immigration Law, Youth Defender, Clean Slate, Community Economic Justice, and Consumer Advocacy and Protection Clinic. So those are great if you are looking to work with local community members. You would actually be, it's sort of a live client clinic where you are actually talking with people as they come in about their case and representing them in a courtroom overseen by an attorney. So kind of 2 different flavors of clinics. Most of these are semester-long clinics. The human rights clinic, the death penalty clinic is a year-long clinic, so that does require a little bit more time commitment. But the rest of these are mostly semester-based, so it is possible to do multiple clinics, not at the same time, but if you wanted to do one clinic, maybe in your second year, and then the third year, if you wanted to do a different clinic, you're absolutely able to do that. A lot of students get really attached to the work that they do in the clinics and decide to stay on their third year, so it's also possible you can stay on throughout your time. And to join a clinic, you submit the clinic application the semester before you're looking to do that, and you rank your top 3 clinics that you're looking to be a part of, and they try to place you in one of those 3 clinics. So every student, by the time they graduate, is going to get the opportunity to do a clinic, and many of our students choose to do so. It's a great way to ground, again, what you're learning in the classroom with real world issues and real world clients. Another way to get some great practical experiences is through field placements and externships. So what is a field placement or externship? That is going to be where you're working, doing legal services at a nonprofit or a government organization, and you receive academic credit for doing so. So this could be in the Bay Area. You could be working, for example, at one of the courthouses in San Francisco on a part-time basis while taking classes here. You could also do an away field placement as well, where something outside of the Bay Area where you would actually be leaving for a semester, for example, the UC DC program, and working for a government agency in DC for a semester, getting academic credit. And so we have a variety of these. There's judicial externships, there's environmental placements, there's criminal field placements if you're looking to work at either a DA or a public defender's office. The UC-DC program is very popular for students interested in government work. We also have international placements as well. We're often asked, do we have a study abroad program? The answer is no, we do not have any study abroad programs in the sense that you might be thinking related to undergrad, where you're going to be gone for a semester, taking classes at a foreign university. Most students that want to get international work while at law school are going to be doing an international field placement. And so we have students across the world that are working at different government organizations or different tribunals across the world. We also have formal programs, a Berkeley Law in The Hague and a Berkeley Law at INHR as well, that's doing human rights work in Europe for students to do every year. So these are open to second and third year students if you either want to be away for a semester or if you just want to get that practical experience here in the Bay Area on a part-time basis. A lot of students do take advantage of our field placements as well. So let's talk a little bit about the classes that you're going to be taking in law school. I mentioned your first year, you are going to be taking the doctrinal law classes, and then you do get a chance to take elective courses. What are sort of the new courses that are going to be offered for this year? Here are 4 examples of courses for the 2024-2025 school year that were just added. One of them is legislative advocacy. So it's going to cover basically what is necessary to successfully bring an idea to statutory law. One of them is through CLE, the California Climate Law and Policy class, which is going to examine the legal and policy tools that have made California a global leader in addressing the global climate change. There's a Human Rights Futures, New Directions in Law and Practice course, which is going to explore how the global human rights movement is transforming as it confronts unprecedented challenges to an international system that was built for the last century. There's also a comparative equality course, which is actually being taught on Zoom because it is includes law students and faculty from over 15 universities from North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Australia, and Europe. So it's sort of a global class. And so every year we add new classes. Some of these are taught by our tenured faculty here. Some of them may be faculty associated with some of the centers that we have here. We also have a lot of practitioner-led courses as well, where it's really great to hear about attorneys that are actually going out and doing that work currently, and they come here and teach at the law school. So I mentioned centers. We have many here. We have over 25 centers and institutes I think this doesn't even cover the full list of them is on our website if you want to learn more about that. It is a common question that we get from students about sort of what are the research opportunities. So all of these centers, they're going to be associated with faculty at the law school who are doing research in these particular areas. But centers are also very accessible to students as well that are just wanting to learn more about these particular areas of the law. So a lot of them put on events throughout the year for students, symposium that you can attend. Some of them have classes available to students as well. So I wanted to kind of give some examples of what our centers do. So we have the Berkeley Center for Law and Business, Bickleby. This is just a sampling of some of the events that they have coming up. I think this is just over the next 2 months here in the fall of these Bickleby Leadership Lunch series of events. So these are practitioner events where they're bringing in attorneys to speak with our students about a number of different areas here. I just thought this was really interesting to just see kind of the variety of the type of attorneys that they're having to come speak about different issues that are really pressing topics in the law school landscape right now. A new center that was just formed last year was the Criminal Law and Justice Center, headed by Chase Abudin, who's the executive director. And he actually just created a new practicum for our students. So that's going to provide sort of classroom experience with real world experience as well that's happening in the area. That's a post-conviction resentencing practicum and seminar for the students. And then I put the quote here from him about why he started this practicum. The idea for this course stems from the resentencing work my team did in the San Francisco DA office and a recognition that this urgent work can be accomplished with the energy and vision of the next generation of lawyers. With student power, we'll be able to help the Alameda County District Attorney review a backlog of ripe cases ready for resentencing and ultimately help save and reducing decades of unnecessary incarceration. So that's just a sampling of a new practicum that is offered through the Criminal Law and Justice Center for students for this academic year. Last year, the Center for Indigenous Law and Justice was also created by Professor Seth Davis. And this is building upon the numerous initiatives that the law school has developed recently to increase access to legal education for Native Americans. and it's working to increase justice for Indigenous peoples and tribal nations through scholarly research, community supports, events, legal impact, and relationships. So we're really excited to see what kind of events that the Center for Indigenous Law and Justice is going to put on for this year. And then finally, just again, kind of staying in the subject of sort of academics and classes that you can take. Another question that we're asked frequently in the admissions office is about our concurrent degree offerings. And we do have a number that you can do here at the law school. Our most popular is the JD MBA or the JD MPP program. The MBA program is with the Haas School of Business, which is next door to the law school. We also have the JD MPP, the Master of Public Policy with the Goldman School of Public Policy here at the here on campus. Both of those would be four-year programs. And you can, for any of the degrees listed here, we have a couple of master's degrees options too, the Master in Asian Studies, Master of Arts and Energy Resources group, the Masters of City and Regional Planning. We also have a JD JSP, the Jurisprudence and Social Policy program, which is our PhD program housed at the school. That's going to be a longer program of about 6 to 7 years. So if you're interested in doing a much smaller cohort-based program that's really focused on, research and academia, you could look into the Jurisprudence and Social Policy program. But all of those you can apply for either simultaneously. So if you know you're interested in doing the JD MPP, you could apply for both programs. There is no joint application, so you would apply separately. We both have different requirements as well. And if you were to be admitted to both, you would just want to work with our Dean of Students to figure out what your curriculum planning looks like. For most students, we recommend that you defer from the law school for a year and complete the first year of curriculum at the other school. And then you would complete the second year, you would do your first year of law school. And then the third and fourth year would be a kind of a combination of both. You could also start at the law school or start at the other school and apply during your first year as well. So if you start at the law school and decide maybe you want to add an MBA or an MPP, you could also do that. I will say there are a lot of other opportunities at the law school that are available if you're interested in those areas without having to do the joint degree as well. So for example, we have the Policy Advocacy Clinic that you can partake in. That is actually a joint clinic for JD and MPP students. And there are a lot of policy classes, a lot of business type classes as well. So you can look into that and think about if it makes sense to maybe take some classes or clinics, or if you do want to complete the degree program, it does save a year of doing the additional degree because most of these you would graduate within 4 years. We also have some combined degree programs as well with the Tufts Fletcher School of Diplomacy and the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Those ones as well, you would complete 1 year at the other school and then generally 3 years here at the law school, and you would get both. More information is available about this on our website, so you can reach out to us or our Dean of Students if you have any information about sort of planning, curriculum planning, what that would look like at the law school. And then finally, I just wanted to end up talking a little bit about the Bay Area where we live. I think this is also an important note of sort of what makes Berkeley Law a special place, is the area that we live in. I love living here. There's just so many things to do. We have great public transportation in the area. So Berkeley is located right across the bay from San Francisco. And so we have BART, which is our subway system here. And so you can hop on BART and be in San Francisco in about 25 minutes. There's also Oakland just to the south of us. There's always things going on there. And San Jose and Silicon Valley is about an hour south in the South Bay. So there's just so many options as far as what is going on. There's amazing food. I'm very big into like hiking and camping, and you've got, Lake Tahoe, Yosemite within a few hours. So it's really great to do weekend trips. A lot of our journals and affinity groups also do weekend trips out to these locations as well. And then just another note about our temperature. It also, I love living here because it's just really a mild climate. In the summer, if it gets up to 80 degrees, that's pretty hot for us. Mostly it's around 68 degrees. Our mean temperature for January is 50 degrees. So in the winter, again, it doesn't get super cold. There's no snow or anything to contend with. So you can still get out and do hikes and go out and enjoy yourself even in the winter. So overall, a great place to live. For those of you who are able to come out and visit, I definitely suggest for you to do so. Another question that we get frequently from those from out of state or not familiar with the area is about sort of housing options as well. I will say that that is an area of improvement that we could do about having more graduate housing opportunities. The campus is working to open those, and in fact, we did open a new housing complex for graduate and undergraduate students in Albany, just outside of Berkeley, the Huchun Runway Apartments. Those just opened this month, so in fall 2024. And those can house hundreds of students in small apartments. And so there are a number of graduate housing opportunities through the university. You can check out the graduate housing page on the UC Berkeley housing website for a full list of those. Some of them are studio apartments or one-bedroom apartments. Some of them are like 4 or 5 bedroom apartments where you would be sharing, the apartment with other students. And so all of the options are on there. It also lists what their rent is. Generally, they are slightly cheaper than sort of market rent in the area. But because it is limited, a lot of our students do find their housing outside of sort of university housing. For 1L year, it is pretty common for students to stay in Berkeley, kind of close to campus, because you are going to be in classes Monday through Friday. The second and third year is kind of when you get to take, whichever classes you would like. And so it is quite common for students to maybe only be on campus 3 days a week. You're also maybe doing clinical work that takes you outside of the law school. So there's a little bit more flexibility there. So that tends to be if students do want to move a little bit further out, maybe to Oakland or to El Cerrito or Richmond, where it can be a little bit cheaper. So there's definitely housing options. We do provide a lot of resources for admitted students who are not familiar with the area to try to find housing and based on the budget that you have. So there are many different options depending if you're looking for, university housing or housing on your own. And I think that's the end of the presentation. So this is really just kind of an overview. There's a lot more information on our website about all of the things I mentioned here. So if you're interested in learning more about SLIPs or about the clinics, faculty here or specific classes, certificates that we offer, all of that's going to be on our website. We also host a lot of information sessions throughout the fall. So if you're looking to get to know more of our students, we have student ambassadors who you can email if you have questions about their journey to law school or what they're currently involved in at the law school. So I definitely encourage you to keep in touch and to explore. And thanks for listening so much for the presentation. Hope you have a great day.